Have you ever climbed into bed completely exhausted, only to find yourself staring at the ceiling for what feels like forever? You check the clock. 5 minutes pass, then 20, then an hour. Your body is tired, but your mind refuses to switch off. Thoughts race from one unfinished task to another. Tomorrow's worries replace today's. Before you know it, midnight has become 1 o'clock, then 2. And when morning arrives, you wake up feeling as though you never slept at all. For millions of people around the world, this has become a nightly routine. The modern world has made falling asleep surprisingly difficult. Bright screens stay on until bedtime. Work follows us home. Social media keeps our brains alert. Artificial light confuses our internal clock, while stress quietly tells our nervous system to stay awake, even when our body desperately needs rest. But there is one country where many people seem to approach sleep very differently.
Japan.
If you've ever visited Japan or spoken with people who live there, you may have noticed something unusual. Many Japanese people don't think of sleep as something they must chase. Instead, they create an environment where sleep naturally arrives. It isn't because they own magical pillows. It isn't because they take powerful sleeping pills. And it certainly isn't because they never experience stress. In fact, Japan has one of the busiest and most demanding work cultures in the world. Long working hours, crowded cities, and fast-paced lifestyles are common. Yet despite these challenges, many traditional Japanese evening habits help prepare the body for deep, natural sleep. These habits have been quietly passed down through generations. Today, modern sleep scientists are discovering that many of them align surprisingly well with what we know about the brain, hormones, and the nervous system. The fascinating part is that none of these habits require expensive gadgets, complicated supplements, or luxury mattresses. Most take only a few minutes. Yet together, they send a powerful message to the brain. The day is over. You are safe. It is finally time to rest. Tonight, we'll explore the nightly habit that many people unknowingly skip, the simple routine that may explain why so many Japanese people seem to fall asleep within minutes. And by the end of this documentary, you'll discover practical habits you can begin tonight, helping your own body remember something it was designed to do naturally.
Sleep. Not forced.
Not chased, but welcomed. Because sometimes, the biggest obstacle to falling asleep isn't insomnia. It's everything we do in the hour before bedtime. Part 2. Why modern brains struggle to sleep. To understand why these Japanese habits work, we first need to understand why so many people struggle to sleep in the first place. Your brain isn't controlled by the clock hanging on your wall. It follows a biological clock hidden deep inside your brain. This internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, coordinates nearly every function in your body. It influences when you feel alert, when you become sleepy, your body temperature, hormone production, digestion, and even how your immune system functions. For thousands of years, this system relied almost entirely on nature. Sunrise signaled wakefulness. Sunset prepared the body for rest. As daylight faded, the brain gradually increased production of melatonin, often called the sleep hormone. Melatonin doesn't force you to sleep. Instead, it tells your body that nighttime has arrived. But modern life has changed everything. Instead of watching the sunset, many of us spend our evenings staring at bright LED screens, televisions, laptops,
Phones. Tablets.
These devices emit blue-enriched light, which can delay the brain's natural release of melatonin. Even though your body feels physically tired, your brain interprets the bright light as a signal that it's still daytime. At the same time, another problem appears. Our nervous system rarely gets a chance to relax. Emails continue arriving. News headlines create anxiety. Social media constantly demands attention. Instead of slowly winding down, the brain remains in a state of alertness. Scientists often describe this as increased sympathetic nervous system activity, sometimes called the fight-or-flight response. This response is incredibly useful during emergencies, but it becomes a problem when it follows us into bed every single night. Imagine trying to fall asleep while your brain believes it still needs to solve problems, respond to threats, or prepare for tomorrow's challenges. Sleep becomes almost impossible. This is why many sleep experts say that falling asleep doesn't begin when you lie down. It begins 1 or even 2 hours before bedtime. And this is exactly where traditional Japanese evening routines become so interesting. Rather than treating bedtime as a sudden event, many Japanese households have long viewed it as a gradual transition. Instead of asking the brain to go from full speed to complete rest in 5 minutes, they slowly guide it toward relaxation. Every small habit sends another signal. The lights become softer. The pace becomes slower. Conversations become quieter. The body begins to cool. The mind becomes calmer. Little by little, the nervous system understands that nothing more is required today. The world can wait until tomorrow. And that simple shift may be one of the greatest secrets behind falling asleep naturally. The Japanese nightly habit most people skip. There is one evening ritual that has quietly remained part of Japanese life for centuries. It doesn't involve expensive technology. It doesn't require sleeping pills. And it isn't something you buy. It's something you do, long before bedtime. For many Japanese families, the evening doesn't end by collapsing into bed after scrolling through a phone. Instead, it ends with a deliberate transition from activity to relaxation. One of the most recognizable parts of that transition is taking a warm bath. At first, this may sound ordinary. After all, people everywhere take showers before bed. But in Japan, the evening bath is different. Traditionally, it's not rushed. It isn't simply about getting clean. It's treated as a moment to slow down, breathe, and mentally leave the day behind. The water is comfortably warm, allowing the body to relax while the mind begins to quiet itself. Interestingly, modern science offers a possible explanation for why this habit works so well. When you soak in warm water, your blood vessels gently widen, allowing more blood to flow toward the skin. This raises your body temperature slightly. But the real magic happens after you step out of the bath. As your body begins cooling down naturally, your brain interprets that drop in temperature as one of the signals that it's time to sleep. This is remarkably similar to what happens every evening before natural sleep. Your core body temperature gradually falls as bedtime approaches. That cooling process is one of the body's built-in sleep cues. A warm bath, taken about an hour or two before bed, may help reinforce that natural rhythm. But the bath is only part of the story. Perhaps the even bigger secret is what happens afterward. Instead of jumping back into work, instead of checking emails, instead of endlessly scrolling through social media, many traditional Japanese evenings become quieter. The lights become softer. Voices become calmer. The pace of life slows down. Imagine your nervous system like the engine of a speeding car. Most of us expect it to go from 80 miles per hour to zero the moment our head touches the pillow.
But engines don't work that way.
Neither does the human brain. Japanese evening routines gently apply the brakes long before bedtime arrives. This gradual slowdown allows the body's rest and digest system, known as the parasympathetic nervous system, to take over. Your heart rate slows. Your breathing becomes deeper. Muscles release tension. Stress hormones begin to decrease. And little by little, sleep becomes something your body naturally wants to do. This is very different from the way many people spend their evenings today. One minute they're answering work messages. The next they're watching intense crime dramas. Then checking breaking news. Then reading stressful comments online. The brain receives constant stimulation until the very last second before sleep. And then we wonder why it refuses to switch off. In Japan, many people understand something simple but powerful. Sleep doesn't begin in bed. Sleep begins with the habits that come before bed. That single idea changes everything. Because every peaceful choice you make in the evening becomes an invitation for your brain to relax. Instead of forcing sleep, you prepare for it. And that preparation may be the habit most people unknowingly skip. The habit you can start tonight. So, what exactly is the nightly habit that so many people overlook? It isn't a single action. It's a sequence. A gentle ritual that tells your body, the day is over. In Japan, evenings are often treated as a transition rather than an abrupt stop. Instead of working until the last possible minute and then expecting sleep to come instantly, many people intentionally slow down. Imagine walking into your home after a busy day. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone, you dim the lights. You prepare a warm bath. You change into comfortable clothes. Perhaps you enjoy a cup of warm, caffeine-free tea. The television stays off. Notifications are silenced. The pace of the evening becomes calm. None of these actions seem remarkable on their own, but together, they create a powerful message for your brain. There is nothing left to solve tonight. This is something modern neuroscience increasingly supports. Every evening, your brain is constantly collecting signals from your environment. Bright lights, loud sounds, emotional conversations, exciting movies, and endless scrolling all suggest that it's time to stay alert. A peaceful routine sends the opposite message. The body begins lowering stress hormones like cortisol. The parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, becomes more active. Your breathing slows naturally. Your heart rate becomes steadier. Muscles begin releasing tension you didn't even realize you were carrying. And slowly, almost effortlessly, sleep begins to arrive. This is why many sleep specialists recommend creating what they call a sleep ritual. Not because rituals are magical, but because the brain loves patterns. When you repeat the same calming routine every night, your brain starts recognizing it as a predictable signal. After several weeks, simply beginning that routine can trigger feelings of sleepiness. It's similar to how smelling your favorite meal makes you hungry before you even take the first bite. The brain learns through repetition. Japanese culture has understood this principle for generations. Another fascinating habit is reducing stimulation during the last hour before bed. Many of us spend our evenings consuming endless information. News updates, social media videos, online shopping, emails, messages. Our minds remain busy until the very last second. Then we wonder why our thoughts won't stop once our head touches the pillow. Japanese evenings often encourage the opposite. Less noise, less urgency, less pressure. Even silence becomes valuable. In Japanese culture, silence is not considered awkward. It's considered peaceful. That peacefulness allows the mind to settle naturally. There is another small detail many people overlook: gratitude. Before sleeping, some people in Japan quietly reflect on the day that has passed. Not everything that went wrong, but one or two things that went right. Perhaps a kind conversation, a beautiful sunset, a meal shared with family, a task completed. Research suggests that practicing gratitude before bed may reduce repetitive negative thinking and promote a calmer mental state, making it easier for some people to fall asleep. It's a simple shift. Instead of carrying tomorrow's worries into bed, you end the day by acknowledging today's blessings. That doesn't eliminate stress. The problem is that modern life rarely gives it permission. We ask our brains to move directly from meetings to emails to social media to bed without ever slowing down. Japanese evening traditions remind us that sleep is not a switch. It's a journey, a gradual transition from activity to stillness, from brightness to darkness, from tension to relaxation. Perhaps that's why the secret isn't hidden inside a special mattress or an expensive sleep supplement. Perhaps the secret begins much earlier, in the way you end your day. Tonight, before reaching for your phone one last time, try something different. Dim the lights. Put the screen away. Take a warm bath or shower. Read a few pages of a book. Breathe slowly. Let your thoughts settle. Give your body the chance to remember what it already knows how to do. Sleep naturally. Because sometimes the smallest nightly habit becomes the biggest difference between lying awake for hours and drifting peacefully into sleep within minutes. If you enjoyed this documentary and want to discover more evidence-based health habits inspired by Japanese culture and the science of healthy living, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, sleep well and take good care of yourself.